Ooh-wee. Okay. Um, we're back for yet another session of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Saturday. And while we pretty much finished the MVP yesterday, um, clicking around, I noticed a few lingering issues, oddities that I think I'll address before I get into what I actually want to do today, which is deploy the app so that it's accessible online through the internet. Let me share my screen. Um, in order to do the deploy, let me share my screen and actually put it on the screen. In order to do the deploy, I'm going to use something called Kamal deploy. That's here. And the idea is to deploy web apps anywhere using Docker containers as the primary mechanism of delivery. And then you might say, why not Kubernetes, Docker Storm, or Capistrano? This Kubernetes is super complicated, so definitely for a simple app, you don't want to use that. And then I guess could have used Docker Swarm, or even something like a Capistrano, but this seemed interesting enough. I have used Kamal before very briefly. I tested version 1 at some point, and it didn't quite have what I wanted. Now, for an app like Honeypot, version 1 would have worked fine. For my use case that I had at work, I was trying to deploy multiple servers or multiple, let's say, microservices, if you will, to the same server. And Kamal wasn't the best option for that. It didn't make that fluid. And I think reading some of the release notes or release posts around version 2, it seems like they've tried to make that simpler. For our purposes, though, for a single app with a single server, single domain, that should work fine. Mary did want to do the deploy yesterday, but I guess we had enough on our plate yesterday, and I wasn't quite ready because I didn't have a clear idea on how I would deploy it. There's so many options, something like Vercel, Netlify, what have you, Heroku. And then the other part was I didn't know whether I'd be ready to or have all the details to be able to live stream it. I don't want to, expose any private keys or what API keys or whatever the case may be. So what I'm going to do for this session is when we get to the deploying portion, I'm going to share as much as I can on my sort of sharing screen here, which is over here physically. And then here and here, as my neck turns, I have a terminal and a browser, which I'll use to look at stuff like DigitalOcean and do any setup stuff like environment file keys or what have you that I cannot or do not want to put on stream. I might make a mistake. I might still expose that stuff on stream. And if I do that, then I'll simply, after the stream, I'll just, I'll delete it. I'll change the keys. I'll change the permissions and do a new thing, right? So before I get to the deploying part, I do want to get to a few items in app. One of them being this glaring Boolean that I left here in the code. So I want to fix that. And then I noticed something with the timer. So I'll fix this, and then I'll show kind of this oddity with the timer that I would like to fix. It's a bit weird. And then I just might link this to go to the landing page or the starting page. We'll see. Maybe this will go to, maybe just clicking math will go to the math page, and then maybe clicking the logo will go to the landing page. We'll see. Okay, let's get started. Back in the code, what do I want to do? I want to get rid of that false. So let's find our turn, and somewhere here is answering. It's here. I left this in the code. So now that's gone. And so the other thing I want to do is look at time allotted and hard code this value to something simpler, like 5 seconds, so we can quickly see that oddity with. So 3, 2, 1, and then when it gets to 0, the fractional seconds, the decimal places on the seconds disappear. That's weird. Let's take a look at that again. You know, when we get to 5, it shows this like, and then boom, 0. It's 0 for all this time. So that's weird. We should fix that. And where is that happening? Countdown. So timer countdown is the variable. It's happening here, and it uses display timer function to show. What's it doing? If it's 0, it just displays 0. That's fine. If it's less than 5 seconds, it does this business. And then otherwise, it does this. It seems like it should work, right? Seconds is purely the seconds, I think. So great. Let's see. That makes sense. So milliseconds is that millisecond portion. So we'll say and milliseconds is also 0. We want to show. So here we should see that countdown coming through. Perfect. That's precise. That's exactly what I want. Seeing that happen again. Perfect. I'll do this all in one commit, I guess. So let's, when you click on math, I want to go to /math. Let's get that done. I think that's an app.view where I have this. And I can say go to path is equal to this, and I'll just, whatever. I could have just used this value. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Relax. And we'll do game type. So I feel like I should use next link here, right? If go to path, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll take all of this, get rid of this, close this up, and do that. And let's see what this feels like. I might need to bring the class stuff out. So that is now a clickable thing. And clicking takes us here. Couldn't mute myself. Excuse me. We'll be fine. Okay, and now I want this logo to go to just / straight up. And so let's turn that into a next link as well. And here I want my 2 to be just that. And let's see what this feels like. So that's this. This is nothing. And then this will take me here. I think that's good enough for now. That's, that's fine. Maybe this should also do that. But like I said, don't worry about it. Okay. Let me just go through a quick run here of the game, starting the round. And yeah, so I need to fix that. So let's take a look at changes to app. I did this whole duplication business. Okay, fine. And that link looks good to me. Here to fix this, because that 0 was wrong. Let's undo that, and then got rid of this debugging statement. Adding link to logo and removing debugging statement. Okay. Actually, let me just push that as we go as well. All right, so now, okay, geez, I thought we fixed this. I really thought we fixed this. This is not, what is this? All right, let's bring that debugging thing back. I believe it's turn dot question type. And it's Fibonacci. So we got a Fibonacci problem. Let's take a look. So this can be 0. And I think in our exclude, we're not accounting for this. So when I say this, I mean it's the value of first, right? So let me split my screen. And let's go down and take a look at where exclude is coded, which is here. We're saying variable.value, and variable.value can be a string, and if it's a string, we actually need to get the value of the variable in the variable set. So I'm glad I ran into that. So I'll try and do that here. Well, I'll say something like if this, okay. So we have those two statements going. And then here I'll actually do the variable value, but I'll take a look to see other examples of having done that. So this type of business is actually what I want to do. Otherwise, I want to get that variable value. And so I can probably do something like this. Like, let's see how this is happening. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. So I might be able to do something like, let's start with let variable value is equal to variable value. So straight up. And then we'll say if type of is number, can I say string? Then variable value should be variables. Variable value dot value. Whatever that is. That could still be a string. That could still be something else. And then we'll go here. Whoops, we'll go here and we'll do that. And this is not happy. String number null. So this might still be null, is not assignable to this value, which is that. So, I mean, at this point, this should have a value. I think what I probably could do is pop that up right outside and then do this, right? And then I can actually just bring this back to kind of how it was. And honestly, this could probably be, I mean, that's fine. It could have been up there and used all across in the code, but I think this is fine. So in order for me to test this out now, what do I have to do? I need to set the situation up. So I'm going to comment everything out first. Fibonacci, yeah. Comment this back in. And then maybe set this to force it to be 0. And then see, this should kind of crash, I guess. I actually don't know what should happen here. And I will click math to get back, which is nice. We'll create the game, start the round. I actually don't know what's going to happen. What happened? Why did it do that? Okay, fine, no problem. Let me get back here and actually use our test thing to test what's happening. And here, this is 0, and the value of this is also 0. And let me see what that exclude thing should be. So let's go console.log. Maybe this doesn't work. Like, so we'll do that. Sure, we'll print out the entire variable as well. So I want to take a look at what's happening here. And this should have redone this with this now. And the key is gone, unfortunately. So we'll pop in the key as well. And that way we can see what's happening. So first and second is what I care about. So first is 0 because I forced it to be. And then second variable value starts at 0 because that is 0. And then my expectation is that you come here and you continue and you keep going in an infinite loop because okay. So I did the whole thing incorrectly. Okay, not the whole thing, but a lot of this incorrectly. So first I need to build my exclude list, actually. Not this. This is, yeah, I did the whole thing incorrectly. How embarrassing for me and for you, frankly. Okay, so let's do that for debugging purposes. Let's bring this back. And let's do that here as well. So now we're kind of really back to where we were. And I want to build my exclude list. So I can actually do this thing that we were doing before, right? Bring that back. And do that. Okay, great. Here, we'll build the exclude list. So const exclude list is equal to, and I want to do, no, we don't need to check for array variable.exclude.map. I'll just accept this for now, and then we'll see. If type of item is this, that I want to, yeah, that is actually what I want to do. And then here we'll say exclude list. Because variable.value is already whatever the value is. It's actually these values that I care about. And now when I come back here, I guess I don't know what I'm expecting. Second is 1, which is correct because there's enough of a gap here for that to happen. Like there's enough. So it should essentially never be 0. We can't verify that in just one test. So we'll actually have to do that in the UI. We don't have to do that in the UI. We could do that in the test and just run multiple. Or force a 0 and see what happens, which would be, it seems like somewhat of an infinite loop. But let's go back here and test. And I could go through multiple answers here, and I should still like not hit that 0, 0, 0 case. And that seems to be correct to me. I did notice one more thing, unfortunately, which can't be heard on stream because I'm not sharing my tab in the sound. But what happens is there's a countdown sound playing here. But when I click on math, the sound still plays. It doesn't stop. And that is no good. So we do need to fix that as well. So I'll come back here. First, let me commit the changes here. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And this is the checker to build that a proper exclude list. And then Fibonacci. Let's comment that out. Let's comment everything back in. And we need to change this as well. Okay, great. And that's why you check your diffs. I'm happy with that. So building proper exclude list. Nice to catch these bugs now so that that doesn't happen when we're demoing this to someone, which might happen soon. Okay, so the bug I want to fix now, which isn't a huge deal, but I saw it, so I want to fix it, is when I come back here. So what I'm thinking here is not this. I want this question file. I have a bunch of sounds here. So this sound ends pretty quickly, but I have a bunch of other stop sounds. I want to take a look to see view unmount. Look at the syntax here. Before unmount or unmounted. Pretty much the same, right? Because I'm saying, hey, if this page is going out, let's stop all the sounds that we know could be playing on this component. And then maybe I can also clear any intervals that are happening. Maybe that's all I actually need to do is clear the intervals. And okay, do they have like a, excuse me, do you have like a picture of the life cycles? And I guess this is happening when, okay, so this is right before the unmount. So you're still mounted like in the DOM. And this happens when presumably when the DOM is gone. We don't know, but okay, fine. I think I'm okay with using before unmount. And I can probably do that right at the bottom of this script block. Before, not before unmount head, no. Unmount. And yeah, really all I want to do is stop interval, right? Did I mean on before unmount? Yeah, that's probably what I meant. Although here, that's not what I see. So is that what I meant? On before unmount, that seems to be here. Okay, I mean, what is this, a different version of view that I'm on? Trying to see. Okay, let's see. So stop interval is all I have to do. But while I'm here, there's another component that plays sound, which is the next turn countdown component. And on before unmount, I want to clear that interval. And there's actually no clearing interval function in this component because it was all happening here. So I'm okay with that duplication. And now let me go back and test whether that timer. And I feel like that's it. Once we're done that, I'm going to try and get this deployed on the internet. Okay, so if I leave the page, yeah, it's gone. Perfect. Let's commit that and then get down to the deploying business. Yep. Stopping intervals on unmount. Okay. Now, let's get down to the deploying business. So we'll start by installing the Kamal gem. And then we will try, well, I'm going to have to Dockerize the app as well. So I will need to create a Docker file. So let's do that. I feel like I might need to test the app in a Docker file as well. But first, let's install the Kamal gem. Let's make sure that we're on the right version, 261. Seems good. And then, yeah, I guess I need to get a Docker file in here. And I feel like I could do this. I'm hoping that okay, so yeah, AI is working, but let me see what my version is. It's 2019 node Docker. And let's take a look at what range of versions it has. I know I can do 20, and it should give me, okay, the latest is 2019. So I'm happy to do 20. And I could do something like Slim or whatever. So 20 will get me this, Bookworm. 20-Slim. Yeah, okay, we'll try Slim, fine. Node 20-Slim, okay, happy. And then, so /app will be our worker. And yeah, I think we want to do something like this. Actually, I want to install, I'm going to use the AI to help me out here. Install pnpm first. That works for me. And then here it should use, yeah, exactly. It should copy packagization and pnpm block. Here it should install based on the frozen log file. Copy the rest of the app in, correct? Build the app, yes. And then we want to export the ports, which should be running on 3000. And we want to give the command to start the app. Let's make sure that all that is available, although we will run it locally. So build is available. Start is not. I feel like there is probably, if I get rid of this and say something like the build next app, will it kind of know what to do? No. Build, dev, generate, preview. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a start here. And that might be because the built app is expecting us to just start it through Node purely. That's my assumption. So let me actually do the build here. And it's generated in .output/server. So you could preview this, yeah. So this is the command that would start it. Good. And let's get to the Docker file. I'll just post that there so it knows what to do. And just say that. Okay, that's good enough for me. And we can try and build it. So this is pulling everything together. It's pulling the base Docker container, 20 Slim. And then it's saying, hey, I don't want to run your commands, okay? Not compatible with the current pnpm. So let's find out what the version is. 831 is the one I have locally. So let's get that in there. And let's see if this knows what to do right off the bat. So hopefully that's good enough. So Docker build. There'll be a lot of trial and error in this session because I haven't been through this process with this app. So, and Kamal used it maybe a year ago, over a year ago, different version of version 1. And so, yeah, just brace yourself, embrace myself. Just, a lot of bracing. Okay. So I guess while this happens, I will go ahead and progress or proceed on the Kamal business. Okay, Kamal init in order to generate these files. So I'm going to first commit my Docker here. Okay, and that's fine. So adding a Docker file. Okay, and then let's go ahead and run Kamal init. Well, this is unfortunate. Didn't I just say that this might take a while? Okay, so a few things might be happening here. My first assumption is maybe Kamal 261 doesn't play well with Ruby 314. That's my first assumption. The other thing is I can just Google this, or AI it maybe, but we'll Google it. Let's actually Google this, because that's the actual error. And let's actually Google the precise error so we get something precise. 4 months ago, not a lot. So this is, 4 months ago, someone's using Ruby 2.6. Concurrent Ruby has removed the dependency on logger. Just block the gem into your gem file with the previous version. Concurrent Ruby. Okay, I wasn't expecting to do this, but okay, fine. This is what I would have done also if I was actually doing this, is just to take a quick look at Kamal's own definition of its dependencies. So concurrent Ruby is a dependency here. And then take a look to see whether, okay, just block the gem has removed the dependency on logger. And I guess they were like, we don't care. All these apps are going to break. Don't care. I mean, look, open source is hard. So I don't want to, they probably had a good reason to do it. So just trying to think whether, I'm not sure where that fix would reside. Let's see. I want to see just what they have here. 134. And maybe what I have here. Concurrent what? Ruby 135. And so maybe I can just uninstall this and install 134, which is kind of what this is suggesting. And hopefully that should be enough. So gem uninstall concurrent Ruby. I pressed tab and it worked. Okay, so maybe I can do this. I forget the syntax for gem install. Gem install specific version -v. So gem install -v. No, gem install concurrent. I pressed tab again in it. Concurrent Ruby -v 1.3.4. Okay, and then And I can maybe remove what I see here. So gem uninstall, and will it just install that version? It's uninstalled. Gem list concurrent Ruby, the tab worked there again. So I do have these two versions installed. So gem uninstall specific version will be my next request. Dash V also. So dash V 1.3.5. And hopefully that I'm not getting that dependency error now that or it's like, oh, all these gems are dependent on concurrent Ruby. Do you want to install it? So installed this version, got this version, and let's go back to that init command from Kamal. Voila. Okay, back we go. So it should have generated a config.deploy. So let's jump ourselves into Vim. Let's take a look at the diffs. Scar.kamal folder with some hooks and secrets. Okay. And this might be like one of these files that I need to edit off screen. Or I guess what I could do is still use this sort of pattern and just set my environment variable and then reload. And I feel like that should be fine. So okay, we'll try that out. So your Kamal registry password. So I did set up a registry in DigitalOcean, and I will need to set the registry password for that. And I will probably need to look at the configuration for that. So there's going to be a lot of just fumbling my way into hoping it works. Now you're ready to deploy to the servers. Kamal setup will SSH using an SSH key, root by default. So that should all be set up. I've connected it already. Install Docker, log into the registry, which we need to set up, or which we need to configure. Build the image, good. Push the image to the registry, pull the image from the registry onto the servers, and do all of this. We'll also want to use SSL, so I'll need to look at that configuration. This is a lot to do, especially when I don't know if any of this is going to work off the bat. So let's try and build this out bit by bit. So okay, so I have a secrets file, which we'll need to see how that works. We have config, so not .config, but just plain config deploy. So we could call this Honeypot, name my application, got it. Just Honeypot, I guess. Yeah, that should be fine. I do have an IP address, which I'll copy from here off screen. Okay. And proxy setup. So I do have a domain name, honeypot.randomactsofcoding.com. I registered this domain years ago and have done nothing with it. I think my plan was there to, do some how-tos or tutorial type things on YouTube, like live stream or kind of produce videos. I did some live stream stuff years ago, but I never did. I did one produced video, I guess, produced. And then the goal was to maybe like write up blog posts from the videos and from the live streams onto the site. That never happened, but I have set up the DNS for this to point to my DigitalOcean setup. I've set up DigitalOcean networking to point to the server. And I'm not sure if this will work because I set up my name servers on this domain just this morning. And typically it says it takes 24 hours. Sometimes it happens sooner. If it doesn't happen, so once we go through the whole process and I can't hit the server, actually I could try that now. So we can say, ping honeypot.random actsofcoding.com. So it is working. Okay, so it's working. If it wasn't working, we could have edited our Etsy host file and got that in there. But seems like we won't have to do that, and that it is public. So this is correct. Proxy connects to your container on port 80 by default, but as you will recall, we have port 3000 exposed on our container. I guess theoretically, we could have in our Docker file. I really thought double clicking that would actually go to that file. It does. Okay, there you go. I guess we could expose 80 and then set something like env port 80 and then expose 80 as well. Which I think is fine, actually. And then just not do that. And if this causes any issues, I'll come back, I'll debug. So here I have a username to set up. So this is correct, I guess, in a way. So let me undo that, get rid of that. Registry username, registry password. So my email, my personal email is my username. I could type it in. That's fine. That can be done. It's not a big deal. It's not like the biggest deal. But I want to see if I can get it from my secrets file, like this. So registry. So let's take a look at the configuration here. Docker registry. Okay, seems like you can. Yeah, still seems like you can. Not sure why they had the same thing here, but okay. So we'll say Kamal registry username. And then in our secrets file, which I can share for now, we'll say username. And let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that as well. And let's go back. I could probably just scroll down and see what I need. AMD64 seems fine. I think we'll see. Inject end variables into containers. Secrets come from Kamal secrets. Our app does have an end file, which is this. And the only thing that's actually being used from this F file is the SQLite path. Database URL is here, but I removed SQLite, so I can actually just get rid of that file. And whoops, let me get back into that end file and see where else this is used. Yeah, I mean, SQLite should not be here because you can see it's not in the package.json. So, so environment.index. I don't know where this is being used, but really just becomes this. And then sequelize also needs to go away. And now when I do sequelize, I should see nothing. And let's go back. So this is some cleanup stuff, like I was moving fairly quickly through the app before. So here's the full path to the database, which reminds me that this cannot live on our Docker, inside our Docker container, because that'll get overwritten every time the app gets deployed. We want a volume on our host machine where we can have the path to this. So volumes. So /app will be our. So I think I can just do this, app storage. And then my database can be located here. So I should be able to do this. I'll comment this out. And this can be SQLite path. And I'll go /app/storage. Production. .SQLite 3. There's so many moving parts here that it will be a shock. Not a shock, but it'll be a nice surprise if things fall into place and just work. Trademark. Bridge fingerprinted assets between versions to avoid. Oh, this is very nice, actually. This is so good. So cool. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? And just to double check where that stuff is happening. Okay, yeah, so this stuff seems to be fingerprinted, right? And the goal of this is to keep, I think it is, I'm not sure, it says bridge. So I'm assuming that'll, while one set is building and deploying, it'll keep the other set there so that, there's no 404s or missing files that happen in between your deploy. Yeah, combine all files from new and old version inside asset path. It's great. I'm not going to turn this on right now, though. It's not that big a deal. We're not. It really isn't that big a deal for our app. But this is great for me to know in case I want to use this kind of a thing on a more production-y style. If an app like Kamal has this functionality built in. We're not using accessories. So if we were, what would happen is it would set up within the same machine, it would set up this Docker container, or not in the same machine, in whatever host we define here. It would set up like MySQL or Postgres or whatever you use. Or Redis/Valkey. For anyone who's keeping up with the Valkey/Redis drama. Okay, but for our app, we're using SQLite, and we've set up a volume, and then we're set up our path environment variable to this. And I think all I need to do now is one, commit everything, and then B, set my environment variables for my secrets, because I do not want to tell you my secrets. And then just for ordering purposes, and then we'll run it. Okay, so let's take a look. We've removed SQLize RC, and some files that were using SQLize are no longer using them. And I should run the app locally before I move too far. We've changed the port to port 80 here in our Docker file. And we've added Kamal. So I'll add the .kamal, which contains the hooks and the secrets. And then the config, which it contains our deploy.yaml file for configuration. So adding Kamal deploy config. Okay. But like I said, let's test dev again. We've changed some code and we can't trust ourselves. So does it run? Basics run fine. Fantastic. Off screen, I'm going to set up my secrets. I'm actually just going to set them up for simplicity's purposes in my well, let's actually see. I mean, like let's learn something while we're doing this. Something like bash shared and file, although I'm using yeah, so I want to share environment files, so like .env type business for your whole shell business. Bash has special syntax for environment variables, while Fish uses a built-in. I was just writing your .env file like so, and then setting set-env. This is a lot more than what I had wanted, but I can probably do this. I feel like I can do this in my Z shell RC file. And then have a glow sort of .env file. You guys can't, I mean, you can't see this, but it's happening. Let me copy this. All I'm doing is setting up something like this in this .env file, which then will get loaded in my Z shell. And then I can get my username and password from some secret sources. And this is to that Docker registry that I have set up on DigitalOcean. And now I was like, oh, I don't want to expose my email and shit. And now it's like right here. Okay, fine. Thanks, Google. Thanks a lot, buddy. Okay. Where am I? Oh, I mean, I'd still have to do all of this business in order to get my get the password anyway. So now here, let me just double check if this works off screen first. Yep. And so over here, I can actually do something like this. I can just source my .env file. It'll be automatically sourced later as well. As if I open a new terminal, it would automatically be sourced because it's in my Z shell RC file as well. So now I've sourced it. Now I should be able to run this command, which I feel like does a lot on the first run. But let's see. So it's able to connect. Hold on. Oh yeah, so it's checking to see if Docker exists, and that's failed. So now it's getting Docker and it's installing it. So it's doing that Docker setup part. This will take a few seconds or minutes or hours. Nobody knows. By the way, I picked the cheapest machine option on DigitalOcean to run this app. So that might also cause an issue. I think it's like one virtual CPU and 512 megabytes of RAM, which would make sense if this was slow as a result. I might need to upgrade it. We'll see. Okay, so it didn't like something here. Cannot perform an interactive login from a non-TTY device because it's expecting some kind of login to happen. So this login to happen, right? So it's using the wrong email. No, it's redacted that. So it's using some username and password. Oh, and this is just as this user on, I think, the other server. But it seems like that Docker stuff is not working. So it's installed Docker. So I should be able to SSH into this machine and see what's happening. And it will be root. Docker is running, right? It just doesn't have any containers or what have you. I think I could do something like this. And so Docker is running here. Let's see if there is no other guidance in this configuration that I missed. So I am doing this. I don't know what precisely it's passing because it says redacted. It might be the case where let me run it again. Not with the expectation it's going to work, but I mean, it's not going to deploy, it's not going to install Docker again, so it should be faster. But just to get that error message back. Running Docker login, this and this. And probably what's happening is these values are not getting through. And as a result, it doesn't work. Okay. Let's just read through very quickly to scan. Set a reference to a secret. We'll look up the secret in the local environment. I don't see anything here that indicates that I don't want to expose my secrets, but I might have to. So if I do an ls-la here, you can see a .kamal folder. So I'm just trying to see what Kamal might have done. If it wasn't here, I would look in other places, or I would just read the docs, but we got lucky. And then let's see if there's some kind of file here. So I would have expected the secrets to be here, or defined in one way or another. Okay, let's see. Because the secrets are defined here in Kamal secrets, so let's see what it does with them. In this file, if using destination, secrets will read instead from, okay, destination is like if you're doing staging, prod, dev, whatever. Use secret helpers, do this, alias secrets, okay. And then reference them and then tag. So we're just moving on here. So that's not that helpful. What else can I do? Scan this just one more time. and make sure that I have this set up properly. Okay. Let's take a look here, registry.digitalocean.com. And here, what I'm going to do just off screen is load up my DigitalOcean page, which I'm looking at over here right now, and verify that here. Maybe they changed it, maybe they probably didn't, of course. But listen, I'm grasping at straws here. Yeah, I mean, when you run Docker login registry, it does that. So anyway, let me just, for, no, it's useless. There's no change here, right? Yeah, there's no change. I'm using this username thing. Maybe that's causing the issue. Maybe this is actually not passing that username through. Just to double check my sanity. Let's double check. This is secret defined here. Reference under registry, password, and secret builder secrets. And accessories. I don't know what this means. Do not enter raw credentials here. This file needs to be saved for Git. Fair. And we did not enter raw credentials here. Okay. So I have a situation where this is not working. Let me take a look. So username, password. Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to forego this situation here and just go straight up with my email. And we'll need to commit this. Okay. Trying username in config. Okay. And I'll go ahead and try that setup again. So that's not it. So this is the, okay, so I think I missed this detail earlier. No, I didn't. It was cannot perform an interactive login from a non-TTY device because it was trying to do an interactive login when you do Docker login. That makes sense. When I added my username, that just means that the secret isn't passing through. Like we've confirmed that now. Okay. How do we fix this? Secrets are not passing through. Secrets are not passing through. Let me, on my other screen, I'm just doing an echo. I did that before, but this is just like a double check echo to see that it is, in fact, in this environment that it's running in. And it is. It is. So, which means it's in this environment that it's running in, because I did the source here, but I need to double check here as well. So I will just echo my username here. So it's there, which means it's coming from the .env, which means the password is also there. Okay. There's got to be something off in their documentation, right? Kamal registry password. Which should work. Overview. Let me just kind of scan through this to see if there's anything else here. Accessories, aliases, anchors, booting. Booting? What's booting? Okay, this is kind of like doing a rolling. Yeah, this is like a rolling reboot or a rolling deploy. That's what it seems like. Yep. Builders example, that's just for building the Docker container. Cron. You can use specific container to run your cron jobs or stored in config cron tab. So I guess you can, this will spit out the cron settings. Interesting. But this is this seems like a how-to, right? Like, okay, fine. Docker registry, this is where we were. And there's nothing new here. Except that this is not working. So my secrets are not going to the server. Okay, this we did not see, but I guess this is just running that on the remote server. So it's all the same. Let's scan this one more time, because sometimes, like you just miss something here and there. These are passed to the Docker run command when deploying. Okay. A Docker run is probably the final command that it uses to start the app, which means that this environment will be there. Okay, because I was considering if this wasn't just Docker run, but kind of bringing the secrets into the environment, I was considering something like this, where I was like, oh, maybe I need to do this, right? But this seems like it's only for the container, not for the setup. Okay. Kamal uses data to automatically load environment variables set in this file. This file can be used to set variables like blah. Okay. You can also use secret helpers to kind of fetch the variables from some service. If you store secrets directly in this, ensure that's not checked into version control. Okay, fine. Because what if, okay. So I'm going to try that now. Yeah, look, it says, unlike clear values, secrets are not passed directly to the container, but are stored in an N file on the host. So maybe doing this will work. So let's try that first from a debugging point of view. That was my instinct to try this. And maybe this, no. Sorry, I'm trying to, okay, let's look at commands to see if there isn't like an env command, secrets command. No, this is local, right? So that won't do. Deploy, remove. I'm scrolling here, but it's not scrolling down here. What I got to do, get to the end of the page? That's a weird, look at this. I'm trying to get to the bottom of whatever options here, but I have to go to the end of the whole page here to get there. That's weird. Setup is what we're trying to run. Version upgrade server, bootstrap, setup Docker, execute commands. So, okay, so it just does the setup stuff. We've already done this. I was expecting when we did setup, that here somewhere it would transfer our secrets before running this. Is this a bug in Kamal? Or am I not reading the docs properly? I feel like I followed everything okay. So server, let's see if Bootstrap does anything different. Doesn't seem like it. It's doing what setup was doing. See here, where it's creating this .kamal, I would have expected it to have transferred the env files as well. Off screen, I'm gonna SSH into that server and see if I can't find some environment file. No. Because I'm doing it off server because I need to take or off screen because I need to take a look at what's in that environment file and I don't want to expose the secrets. Looking at the RC files to see maybe if those were modified. Does not seem like that. And they weren't because we can see in the output here. Taking a look at, well, that's it really. Here I might Google something. Where does Kamal store secrets on the host? Yeah, that's there, but where does it store it on the server? That's not helpful at all. Maybe that might reveal something. Are env variables set in env? How to use Kamal destinations? No. What is this? See mina for deployment. See, I'm expecting it to. Okay, so that's fine. The other thing I'm going to try is, without committing, okay, is maybe my problem is still local. Maybe for whatever reason, running source doesn't work. So what if I just hard code my key, my password into the secrets file? I won't commit it, but I'll try the deploy. And then we'll see if that works. So I'm going to do that off screen here. Bear with me. So we're going to get into the .kamal secrets file. I'll still narrate what I'm doing and add it here. And so now when I do a git status, you'll see that I've modified this. And even if I do end up exposing it, I'll change it, or I'll remove the permissions. And now if I do a Kamal setup, let's see. So something's happening with Kamal and reading the env things locally. So it was just in effect that secrets file was empty. Kind of frustrating, to be honest. And while that's happening, I want to see if I can't find a way to understand what just happened. No, I want to go here. I want to go to environment variables. Like, I would have assumed this would have done the thing I was expecting. But should I like do an echo here instead on this? Are those equivalent? Are they not? Maybe this is the problem. So I will test that out after this builds. That'll be the next thing I test out. Okay, so it's building. It's almost done. It's done. It is done the build. It's 4 megabytes gzipped. It's kind of building that. It's pushing, and we get an error. So I'm a little bit more invested, I suppose, in getting this to work before I jump into understanding what was happening. Send it out, building with Kamal local container instance using, okay, so this is just the full export. Let's see what actually failed. That's a warn, so I'm not too concerned about those. The font stuff seemed like it built. So, I mean, I should have just read this, I guess, right? We're still dealing with registry issues. This is getting a little frustrating. Failed to authorize, failed to fetch OAuth token. Unexpected status from GET request to api.digitalocean.com with this stuff. Failed to push. But it seemed like, so now if I do that, this command, command registry login, I assume that this should work because we went past that extra step. It seems like it's done this twice, but that's still not sufficient enough for us to do a push. It might be the case that when I set up the key, I didn't give it push permissions. So I'm going to check off screen whether that's the case. But while I'm doing that, I'll run setup again just in case. And this should presumably run faster, but it's not. I would have thought that this stuff was going to be cached. And so I didn't expect all of this to happen. But okay, fine. So as that's happening, I will look at the permissions I set up for this API token. Create, read, update, delete on registry. So it doesn't seem to have a push here. I'll try and generate a new token. I'll still narrate what I'm doing, right? And say, expires in a year, custom scopes. So what's interesting is they don't have like a precise guided thing here. Create container registries, view container registries, modify container registries. So that's update, and delete container registries. And they just have a registry scope. I'm going to quickly take a look at other scopes. Account, actions, add-on, app, billing, CDN, certificate, droplet, firewall, GenAI, image. But these seems like not Docker images, but images for DigitalOcean itself. But maybe. registry, reserved IP sizes. Yeah, not seeing anything there. Let's quickly check back here to verify that fail. Uptime, VPC, peers. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything obvious here. So that's fine. Maybe I'm missing something. It says first create a new API token and then enter the following, but it doesn't tell me what permissions I need on that API token. So, and I can do this here on screen where I can say, okay, Docker registry API token scopes, right? That's what I'm trying to find out. And it doesn't seem like here there isn't like a, hey, make sure that you have these scopes. This is Docker registry API token, and it's saying registry catalog and registry process pull, and these are common scopes, but none of these are available when I'm creating that token. So that's just the API making something up. Like those are not options. It's not even something I could put in here if I tried. The other thing I can do is, just to get this working for now, this is not necessarily what I want to do, is create a token that has full access to my DigitalOcean account, drop that in to my Kamal secrets file, and then we'll come back here and try again. So we will do this again, I guess. And then we'll try the setup portion again. And maybe some other, like, if it is a scope issue, then maybe granting all scopes will work, although I can't imagine why that should be the case. There are other authorization things here. I'm just looking here while this is running. It seems like it's stuck on, oh no, it's not stuck, sorry. I had scrolled up and my tmux kind of keeps the spot, so this is working, sorry. I thought it was stuck trying to acquire that lock. So okay, I'm back in DigitalOcean, just narrating what I see here. There's a tokens tab and there's an off applications tab, which I can't imagine that to be the case. So no, that doesn't work either. Okay, yeah. Honeypot pull push. So I do need to have some kind of extra registry-based token. So let me figure that out. So we're going to container registry. Like I'm following the instructions here on this page. On this, like I'm like, what am I doing? Am I doing something? Is it me? No, I see what the problem is. Yeah, it is me. Ladies and gentlemen, it was me. It is me. Let me explain. I see it now. So I'm going to change back to the token that has limited permissions. I'm going to also, just for safety reasons, before I move further, delete my token that gives full access. Okay, just so you know, that's not the thing. So the problem is this, because that's not my registry name, so I will need to get in here, get up here. And so the image should be, I'm using one of my nicknames here, and it should be this / that. So this is the registry name. My fault. So now that, but it's not the token stuff, right? We went through the token stuff. That's unrelated. This is just pushing. So 8 times the charm, I think. Let's see. Where do we go? Yeah. So my assumption is now that it should push. This is actually not bad. You know, like I think this kind of mismatch in configuration is totally possible. I had assumed, I guess, that when I was placing my username and password, that my slash kind of registry name would be figured out automatically, but that was too generous an assumption. And because it happened super early in the configuration process, it wasn't fresh in my mind. And then when I kind of did a scan here of the error saying honeypot : pull push, let me look at my registry page on Docker, I saw that slash, this duck. So now this is working. And yep, okay. And hopefully, well, we'll see. I was going to say there aren't any more issues, but I mean, come on. At least we're moving one layer up. So what it should be doing, it says done here for pushing the layer. So it's exporting to image, but I don't know what that is. Is it exporting more images? Exporting image layers, pushing layers, and then this is done. So presumably this is done. Oh, it's kind of weird reading this, right? So it's like it's 11 here, which is, I assume, the 11th command that's being run, the build command, the 10th thing running. And then it says 12 here. So it did continue, but it said 12 here, 12, 12, 12, and then it says 13, and then it said 12 back again. But it is seeming to continue now. So now it's removing an image, RM force, and also pulling the image from the registry onto the host machine. So here it pushed it to the registry. I'm not sure where Kamal is building. No, the Kamal is building locally. And now it's trying to start Kamal proxy using our settings. And it's trying to, I don't know. I actually don't know what it's trying to do here. Because this is exec Kamal proxy deploy. So I guess it's trying to set up still in the Kamal proxy, because Kamal proxy is another container running on the same server. So it's multiple containers. And there's a proxy server, Kamal proxy, that accepts all requests coming in and redirects them to an internal container. So now I know what's happening. So here it's saying no match found for location /up. In order to determine whether the server is running, it looks for /up thing and it expects a positive response. So let's add that to our app. And the way we would do that is we need a /up page. So up.view. And here I can just say template. This is the up page. That sounds good. Let's test that locally. We're getting closer. Like, we're getting closer. The contents of the page are not really relevant. It's that it returns a 200 when the app is working. So I just need to make sure not to expose. So these files can actually be, like, don't need to be committed because they, I guess, are read from the local environment as they're running. But does any of this need to be committed? I kind of want to test it, but I also don't want to waste time. But I do want to test it. So Kamal setup, because setup failed, right? So I should probably keep running setup until it works. So I can probably read this code to find out what might be happening. It might be using the git git log. It is. So I think that should be committed. And there might be a way to deploy uncommitted code as well. But for now, look, I'm glad I did that, just so I know now. And adding up page for proxy to check. And I guess we'll keep doing setup until the setup is complete. And then I guess we could do, because I pressed Control C, the lock thing broke. So let's release that lock. And let's set up again. I think I was saying that after this, I think we do a Kamal deploy and not a Kamal setup. I guess we could do setup because all setup does is it runs a Kamal deploy after it sets things up. But Kamal deploy would be what we do on a regular ongoing basis. Okay, building, building, building. Which again, I'm not sure why this is happening. I definitely would have expected these layers. No, of course I know what's happening. I changed code. Of course. Just got to build everything. But here, this stuff was cached. So it didn't run pnpm install from scratch, but because code was changed. And even when I run config, yes, I don't know. Hard to tell. Okay, so we're back again, and we're doing all this stuff of like setting up the proxy, and this seems to have worked. I want to quickly scan some of this just for my own understanding. To see, yeah, so it does set up a host here. That's what I was looking for, to see where it's doing that host setup. And this pipes through. I will check one more thing. I know I could just like go on the browser and check this, but so we did set SSL to true. In doing that, I think it tries to use let's encrypt in order to get the site to work. Connection is not private. So let's take a look at certificate details. I'm seeing let's encrypt. So that means that some certificate is being returned. It says it was issued on Saturday, May 17th, which is today, right? So a certificate was created, but my browser doesn't like it. Why? Yo, why is this not secure? Are there some missing details? I would not have expected this to happen. So it's kind of a surprise to me. We're going to bypass that and just try and get this to work. So this is now happening. And now this is the first time a database action happens. And clicking that did not work. So we have multiple issues at hand. One of those issues is that we have an HTTPS problem. And if I were to do just HTTP, it does a redirect because I have SSL set to true. So that should all work. And then my second problem is that when I submit this and try and create game, So I'll want to look at what's happening in the network. So it fails with a 500 error, no such table. Okay, this is good. This is actually very good. So this happened, but it's actually good. And then because we need to run the migration command, right? This is like, I know exactly what's happening. So it's not like this, like, oh, we need to do some like deep debugging. There's a few ways to handle this. And I'll focus on fixing the problem I know first, and then we'll try and get to debugging the problem I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have an immediate solution for the problem that I do know. Okay. Let's think. So I want to run my migration command, right? So, which is this? We ran this in our last stream when we added those extra, or those 2 streams ago or something, right? So I need to be able to run this. I can run this every time I do a deploy because my database is on the same server. Where would I put it? So I could put it in my Docker file. Right, do something like run this and then node. Trying to think how I feel about that. So what if I said this and this? So let me see how it would handle that. It's like it doesn't care. It doesn't want to do the second part. It's like I don't know if this, I don't know if that works. I'm not sure. Okay, so this is one option. Okay. Along these lines, another option is we can have something like a start.sh that just runs these 2 commands one after another. So I can create a start.sh here and then get that in there and then have node dot output slash server slash index.mjs. I'm okay trying this. Okay. So adding that start file, modifying my Docker file, and we still won't commit anything else. So running migrations before starting server. And now we could do a Kamal deploy. We could also presumably do a Kamal setup as well. And this will take that amount of time to build and run. In the meanwhile, I can probably try and see what's happening here. Kamal let's encrypt not secure, right? So Kamal let's encrypt not secure. Let's see if somebody else is having this issue. It's not quite what's happening, but I want to open a bunch of these to see maybe if they're related. So this errors while running it. In the browser. So maybe this is a little bit closer to what we're looking for. You need DS. Okay, this is it then. Which so what's happening is I have Honeypot Not this. Honeypot.randomaccessofcoding.com, pointing to the server that we deployed to. Randomaccessofcoding.com is not pointing anywhere to any server. That's in the DNS setup. Let me see if, no, I can't share it. I don't want to share, rather, like it's on. So now I'm in here in my networking tab on DigitalOcean. I'm looking at my DNS configuration for randomaccessofcoding.com, and it's only set up with honeypot dot. So now I need to add kind of the default setting. Okay. Yeah, I do need to do a default one. So let's, okay. I was just double checking the settings. Okay, so now I've added a record so that randomaccessofcoding.com goes directly to this. But I don't know now if that SSL needs to be regenerated. Like, it's not like I press refresh here and this would all of a sudden work. It's, so let's see if this, where did it go? Okay, check this certificate. What is this? Come on, stop it. Check the SSL certificate, server configuration. Okay, none of this is helpful. But remember, you need DNS in place for all domains. This is not entirely helpful. I guess in addition, something else has failed here. Okay, so now I have two problems. I'm just typing stuff, hoping that it works. So let me fix this one. This one is kind of clear, which is, I have to do sh. Not dash. Maybe this would have worked, but I'll just start with the sh. Let's try. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Need shell to run shell script, it turns out. So the difference was I just typed in the name of the script and I said, hey, just do it. And it said no. So we'll redeploy and hope that this progresses us. But now, actually, yeah, I mean, I guess for Let's Encrypt to succeed, so presumably Let's Encrypt certificate generation wasn't complete. Or was messed up, because I need the certificate to generate again for the same subdomain. And I'm not sure exactly how to manage that. So let's see if there isn't. So I'll say Kamal SSL regenerate to see if somebody had this kind of thing. Traffic is the previous proxy server that Kamal was using, but it's not doing it now. It's using Kamal proxy. So that might not help, but let me say renew. Right. automatically plan and renew for your certificate. To enable this, add the dash while deploying an instance. So now, but I'm not running Kamal proxy directly. I'm running just the thing. So I don't know whether it will do that here for me. I don't. So that dash TLS that is referencing here is over here. So this failed. So now we have to just cycle through. Target failed to become healthy. So it just means that it didn't start. So that .sh business didn't quite do what I wanted. Okay, fine. There might be a way that we can get that to work through the code. So I'll do that next. I'll do that now. Keysly migrations. And we can run migrations in the code using this. And then as the server starts up, we can try and get this to run. So I need to provide it a migrator config. And that config is coming from where? This is not a lot going on in here. So CLI is here. And I set this up a while ago, so I'll just need to refresh my memory. So there's a Keysly config. So that's the config. So I should have this somewhere in my code, hopefully. And I do in that .config folder. Okay. Let's have faith in the process. So I should be able to import that and then join it with this. Now, there is an index index.environment that I want to run somewhere, right? And then I can see whether environment is being imported somewhere. Import DB from environment Keysly, but environment index is not being imported anywhere. So this file is really just not even anywhere. That's fine. We can actually go into our Keysly file. I'm trying to see if that config is being pulled in here anywhere. It is not. So here we can say run migrations and see if this can kind of figure out what to do. It's trying to run this, and it doesn't exist, right? Yeah, migrate relations doesn't exist. So it's like AI is like trying to do something impossible. For me, I want to get this. For some reason, my thing is saying multi-line paste. Just paste it, please. And paste this as well, I guess. Why is this an issue? Why is pasting a big deal? I will need to import migrator. So let's see if I can't do that here. I can. And I will additionally need to have an import for this migrator config from, that's not going to work. Where's this file? It's in here, dot seems correct. And then dot config slash Keysly config. And now I can verify by going to in this file. So now that's so far. It doesn't like, so let's just go here. This is the defined config, which is type defined config input. Argument is not assignable to migrator prop. So I guess I just made that assumption that that file can be punted into this. So let's just take a finer look to see what needs to be done. DB here. Okay, so yeah, I do need to actually do this stuff. Is this it? That's just, I mean, that seems unlikely. So it's not. Let's open up both of those files at once. So here I'm getting the dialect config database migration folder information. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't as simple as like populating one into the other. Like, why do I have to have a .config .Keasley defined for the migrations to work from the command line, and then also just not be able to like bloop, pass that in to the migrator class? Like, just make it work. It doesn't like it. It's like, no, go to hell. So I guess we're going to hell. I will need to pass it this separately and just redefine everything. Seems very unnatural. And permit this again. Here it seems like I need to do that. So I can get rid of that. Can you just remember my choice? Thank you. And path. I'm copy pasting this because I want to make sure that I'm not doing something unnatural or unexpected from what the docs say. Do not use top level. Oh, wait, no problem. I won't. Just relax. Everybody calm down. So I'm going to say /db/migrations because we're using that dir name business. Here I'll say function migrate to latest. So we'll define that this way. We'll take this, we'll pump all of that in there, and we'll say migrate to latest here to call it, and then make sure that async is on this function here. We can test this locally, of course, by starting a server, and already we got dir name is not defined. We've dealt with that before, so that's fine. We can deal with that now as well. I think I thought I had it somewhere. I think I could do something like const dir name. This seems incorrect, but I could try it. There's no. There's no. I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. That doesn't seem right. But let's const migrations folder. Let's actually do this and console.log that as well. Just make sure every little bit is working. So this is wrong. So resolve happens because it's running at base level. I don't even know what resolve does. Yeah, it's not very clear here what is happening. That's fine, because define their name. That's unhelpful. And say MJS. And this is the way to do it in a way that's more concrete. I thought I told you to remember. Okay. So I've done this now, and I'll just need to import this and import that. And now I should have a legitimate dir name. Doesn't feel like I do. Actually, no. I think it compiles to here, maybe, because it's running through here. Let's just verify that very quickly, if we can't. And then this should still, instead of being dot dot, should something like server. And this is unhelpful because it's not. Well, one of the things I could do is just remove my. Just verify whether this works. I still don't trust it, so I will need to readjust. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's fine. It's looking for a non-existent path. So none of this is. It's just useless. So that's what you get for AI. Although it is just getting this information from here. You can use import.meta.dirname. So we will try this. We'll give this a chance. And if this doesn't work, we'll just try something a little bit more, a little different, let's just say. Because when I'm saying dir name, I'm expecting it to be the file that's this file, which means this should make sense. Yeah, so none of this is good. Okay, fine. So I'm just trying to get a sense of what I should be doing. I think I'm going to quickly try the path dot resolve stuff, because I think this is still giving me that base folder. If I do server here, I did expect this to work, but it doesn't seem like it has. Let's try again. It doesn't seem like it has, because here I would have expected it to have the same output as that. That's the output I'm expecting. Instead, I'm only just getting this. So it means that it's not picking this up. So let's see if this is real. It is. So either this doesn't work, or something else is up. I mean, this is the problem. I just don't know the solution or the precise solution yet. My attempt at the start.sh did not seem to work. although I'm trying to get a sense of maybe returning to that potentially and seeing if there isn't maybe something else that I can do there. Trying to look at this to see if there's anything particularly revelatory here, something I missed. Yeah, I mean, I could actually just copy all of this. They really shouldn't use destroy, as a factor, because like it seems like it's going to destroy the entire database. So let's see if this doesn't show us something, because we're kind of asking it to give us errors, right? So maybe I should read the code. So we're getting some results. If error, then it should say failed to migrate, but it just seems stuck here. So it seems like none of that is happening. So we're not having a good time right now. Let me test a few things. I might abandon this path if I can't get it working in a few seconds. Yeah, okay. It's just stuck. Let's output the results to see if it even passes this line. Now I'm probably getting an error. I didn't think that would happen, but it seems like there's an error and it doesn't want to share the error. So this is our error message that we had here. And then the error, and this is blank. So we're not really getting anywhere here. Okay, so I want to go back to what I was trying before. So I'm just going to get rid of all this. And we might actually be back here soon. Because of the rest of the things, I have to keep trying things, right? So let's go back into our Docker file. I got the sh start.sh business, but I did notice this, right? And maybe this can serve us, right? We're gonna have to throw things at the wall and see if something sticks. So I'm using pnpm here to run this and doing an end-to-end to start the node server. In one command, all in my command.sh. So I'm kind of bypassing my start.sh file because I don't know where the error precisely is. And every testing cycle takes time because the deploy takes time to run. So trying sh-c in Docker file and deploy. And this will take, I think, 1.5 seconds to build. Or, no. Yeah, I guess it is. Because I guess when this runs, if you change the Docker file, right, this is gonna change as well. So we'll just wait. And I'll stretch my arms. It's really here. It's kind of tight. And here, same thing. While this is pushing, we'll reminisce to a time where this was giving us errors. And it took us a while to debug. And away we go. One thing I can probably try and do is like for that SSL issue is maybe change this to honey.random access coding just to generate a new SSL certificate to see if that was the problem. So that's still on my mind. Oh, it worked. Or it says it worked. So we don't know. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. Let's open up the network tab, generate, submit, create. And it did not work. That was very slow. That was, so it worked. So we can celebrate that. And now that we're done celebrating, we need to determine why it was slow and how that gameplay is being impacted as a result of the speed. And it just might mean that I need to upgrade the server, right? I could not answer this question. Even in the 30 seconds, maybe. So reveal answer correct. Okay. I mean, that was fine. Maybe it was a one-time thing. So what if I went back here and retested that? Okay. Seems like it was a one-time thing. So it took a bit of time, but it seems like that sh-c to run those two commands at once. I don't know why my start.sh didn't do the job. I would have thought that it would have. But I'm not too invested in trying to determine why. Like there's no personal gain. I'm just creating a bunch of games here to get the sense and feel. I will just answer a few questions. Incorrect. Yeah, that's pretty quick. I'm getting a response with a fair bit of speed. So I'm happy with that. Even though I look happy. And let's see if I can't figure out this SSL issue. And just to understand where I'm at. So my code's all good. My configuration is a bit wonky because I have some secrets that I don't want to expose. Also, I don't want to commit. So we're a bit wonky there. And then here, so this we do want to commit. And this, I don't think is doing anything. So I'll just comment it out for now. And then just to test this out, we can do the registry login just to make sure that that wasn't, the issue to begin with. So it wasn't, that's not an issue. So I can go ahead and commit this file as well, which really has I don't need to actually change anything here. I mean, anything here. So I can just revert here, not have a diff. This has a diff, and all it is this. So adding proper path to registry. And this is something that we fixed a while ago. So really, this is the only gap I have. But as I said, I want to try out, saying just honey and see how that works. So we're going to do a deploy. And while this is running, potentially rebuilding and doing all that stuff, we'll come back here off screen now again. And I am in my browser in DigitalOcean, and I'm adding honey as a subdomain to point to my random acts of coding server. And that's done. And I needed to do that before this goes and tries to generate an SSL certificate for a domain path that doesn't exist. And while this is happening, we kind of verify that by running our ping again. Oops. by running our ping again, except we'll do it on Honey. So that's working. And I'm hoping that when we do it now, when we, after this deploy, visit honey.randomxofcoding.com, that it just works. And then we're done. And I'm not too dissatisfied. It took a couple of hours, but I kind of expected it to take that much time. Excuse me. Excuse yourself, actually. Don't even excuse me. Don't. I've been the one that's doing all the work here. So I don't need to be excused. Oh, you can access it? Okay, so it seems like Mary has been watching secretly and has been trying to hit the domain name, but I don't know if it's Honeypot or Honey. So let's try Honey. So Honey is definitely not up. So Mary's a liar, it seems. Maybe this didn't know. So I need to commit it, I guess. So that's not. Ugh. Okay. Mary, you're not a liar. I take that back. But maybe you can let me know whether you're getting a HTTPS error when you're trying to visit the site. What I can probably do in order to verify that is, again, off stream. Before I go ahead and make any other changes about Honeypot or Honey or stuff, I'm getting this non-secure, and I don't want to get that. Let me try in a different. Okay, here I'm not getting that issue. So it seems like it's just cached here for me in this browser instance, because it says here certificate is valid, and I believe earlier it said, I actually don't know what it said earlier, so nobody knows. What if I open this in a new tab? Oh, it still says not secure. Is there something I could do here, maybe to clear cache or data? I can delete data, delete, go back, refresh, hard refresh, hard refresh and say please at the same time, please. Nope. But in another window, it is working. So I think I don't need to try that Honey thing. I think that just adding this worked, but this is being cached in my current browser instance because I am seeing on my other screen that I'm not getting a HTTPS error, which I assume Mary's also not getting. And I feel like it's live and it's working now. I don't feel like it's live. It is live. Facts don't care about my feelings. But also, feelings don't care about my facts. That's a fact. It is slow. It is slow. Like I'm clicking on this, and I don't like that. I don't like how slow it is because we can't. Or no, it just got errors because I'm okay. So I know what happened here. So I want to fix it. I don't want to go live with this. So submit. I'll open up the tab here so we can all see what's happening. Clear the console errors as well. And I'll create game here. Okay, so this happened fast. But the last time it didn't happen fast. And I kept clicking. And that's going to happen to real humans who use the app. And I can't predict how slow it'll be and when, right? So what I want to do in order to accommodate that is when I click, I need a loading indicator. Even if I don't have a loading indicator, I need a block or disable on that button. because in the moments that it's slow, it feels like it didn't respond. And I did it here. I double clicked on that, and now it created 2 games, which is no good. So I don't have to fix this. If in a controlled environment, it shouldn't matter. But my feelings were hurt. Okay. And create game. Create game. And my feelings care about my feelings. So here, I also want to see with the next UI whether that button has kind of a facility for a loading indicator. And it does. And all that needs is loading true. Using the loading auto prop to show the loading icon automatically when click promise is pending. So that's very nice. So actually, that's actually very nice, because create game is a promise here that is pending, and it's pending until this is done. So in our case here, this is fantastic. I'm trying to think where else this can be relevant. So let's just flow through the app bit by bit. And now I have to actually go to the local app version, not the, I just start the app as well. And go here, go here, go here, click here. Let's see if some loading indicator, this very briefly saw a loading indicator, but it didn't do anything. It didn't do anything because, sorry, I'm in the cycle of fixing things and whatnot. So we're going to remove this. We're going to do latest. So now our database is created. We're going to start our server. It didn't do anything because there's an error, and there's no real error indications in the app. Like there's a 500 error server side, and there's no feedback in the app. And I don't care to fix that either. So here, let's see here if, yeah, so that does the round thing. So I'm going to follow through the app to see where I can't add that. Loading auto where it's relevant. And now start round. Just on those common things that are being, so trigger start round is async. It is doing a server-side call. So we're going to say loading auto here as well. And then let's just walk through just kind of 1 or 2 questions to see. Reveal answer does not, I believe, do anything that is server-side. So it's not even a promise. It's just straight up doing its job. So that doesn't need it. Correct and incorrect, I believe, do go server-side because they're running set answer state, which is promise-based and is doing that. So here, there, and let me just search for incorrect to see if there isn't like 3 places where I have an incorrect button. Doesn't seem like I do. So let's fix this up. And test it out. So if I say reveal incorrect, that happened very quickly, so we would not have seen it. Next turn is the other spot where we need to see trigger next turn. Yeah, promise based. So let's add the loading auto business. Oops, I just overwrote something. So loading auto Okay, and next turn. All of this is happening fairly quickly locally, I think, so we won't see too much feedback. But I do want to now deploy these changes into production, insofar as, production. I never committed this, and turns out I don't need to. So can I do that? I can't. I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, and yeah. Okay, so let's just go bit by bit. I have a loading auto here. Good, I want to keep it. I have just loading autos sprinkled around some of the key buttons. I think endgame is one of those key buttons, so let's add. And endgame exists in a few different places, so let's add. No, it's not. I lied. It isn't. I just realized that it isn't. There's no promise on endgame. It's just it's a fake endgame. This endgame, they're all fake. They're just redirects, so we're good. Still good to check. And yep, so just sprinkling loading auto. I feel like I might still upgrade the server, but I'll do that off stream. And the reason for that is I don't want the slowness of the server to impact the first experiences that we go into demos with, and so the only hesitation would be like, it's X amount of money, but I'll just cancel my Netflix subscription. So and my internet connection. But I think insofar as coding changes, unless any bugs come up now, and I'm glad that we found that kind of additional layer of exclude bug and fixed it. At some point, I think there's something I can do to clear the cache here. It might not be any of this stuff. If I just maybe, no, it still says not secure. But that's fine. That's fine. It's just, it's going to bother me until it goes away. But I think anyone who is visiting this in a different browser, it should be fine. So it takes about 2 minutes to deploy, which is quite a long time, I feel like, for like a site this simple. But the next build is so heavy. Okay, so generate players, submit. And now I expect this to definitely show. So here it is. It's loading, right? And now it's done. Start round. So, okay, fine. It's not like it's not super fast as it is locally. But it's fine. Like I think so I saw that change here, which I wasn't seeing locally, right? It's so fast. But here there is a little bit of, there's going to be naturally. We're going through all the intertubes before we're getting the response. So incorrect. But it's fast enough. So maybe I won't, well, I'll play around with it and I'll see whether I want to upgrade or not. Let's actually create a couple of games here, a couple more games to see what that feeling is like. That was super quick. So it's variable depending on, I guess, the feelings of the server. I'm okay with that. That's not bad. Even if it takes a second or two, I think that's fine. If it took more than like a second or two, I think then I'd be like, but because it's not even like one of those servers that needs to be warmed up. It's just always up. So a couple more games, so I feel good about it. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Let me just check the code. So the only thing is this secrets business, which I thought would have worked. Before I end the stream, I mean, everything's working now, so I can just get off. I do want to test one thing, okay? So I'm going to go back on my other screen. I'm going to undo the change to the secrets file. I could have done that on the screen, hidden as well, but whatever. So now we can see the secrets file doesn't have that hard-coded key in there. And now if I do registry login, I expect it to fail. Good. And now I'm going to try something which I can share on screen just to get this out of my system, right? What if I did echo? Okay, definitely don't need a base 64-D. Just this. You know what? Maybe this isn't working. So maybe what if I did it more explicitly? And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to say goodbye. Doesn't work. I was hoping that it did. So there's some problem in how this secrets file is being processed in Kamal that is not picking up my. Okay, I'm going to try one last thing. Okay. I'm going to start a new terminal. So I got a terminal here. I got a terminal here. What I'll just do is like exit. I'll start a new terminal session here, which should now have picked up my environment. Which, if I do an echo, not on my password, on my username, it should have it here. Although that all was working before as well. So let's try and do the login. Doesn't work. Let's a couple more seconds and I'll finish whatever. Let's undo this just in case that was causing the problem. Doesn't work. Password. We tried this. We know it's local, so it's not. It's just the secrets file being read. Let's see. Okay, two more tries. Two more things I'll try. I don't even know what they are. I'm just saying, give me a chance. Log in, log out. Secrets. Secrets extract. Extract a single secret from the results of a fetch call. Don't know what that means. Fetch secrets from a vault. Come on, secrets to that. Okay, fine. No. None of this is relevant. But maybe there's something. Look at it. Maybe something hidden on the bottom of this page that might have revealed something. Nope. Maybe there's something here that I missed. We'll quickly scan one last time. You can also seek help with some common password managers. Is there some command I need to run prior to? Environments can be set directly in the configuration file, like this. Yes, we did this already. Uses .env to automatically load environment variables in the command. Secrets uses .env. Okay. So let's see .env gem. To see how it's working and to see if there isn't like some way that we can manipulate. I like how I'm on the docs of this thing. And I'm trying to see what the syntax for the .env file would be. Not finding it yet. Like so okay, fine here. But I'm trying to look at like other variations of like how how you get variables inside my .env file. And that's the only single thing so far. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so now multi-line values. Okay, good. This for like to run a command. Okay, fine. This to get the variable. Wrap it in single quotes. You could reference the variable with var. There's no indication here of a direct variable reference. Maybe it comes below. Not seeing that. Not seeing it. Not seeing it. Okay. So we have one thing we can try potentially. Though I don't necessarily believe that it will work. Because there isn't a. Let me just scan one more time quickly before I try it. Ah, look, it just says or often just var in unquoted or double quoted. Or often just. It seems like often like so. When you say often, it implies it's not 100%. That's fine. We're going to try this. So I'll do it the way it is here, right? So I'll add a quote. I'll add this. I'll add this. I don't know what that means. So I'll just take this. We'll try this. I don't think this will work. But now at least we're being precise. And it didn't work. So that's one thing. I have one more thing I could try. I don't know what it is. You can use the -t or -dat template flag on the .env CLI to create a template of your file. I don't know what that means. Okay, it's just, it does nothing. .env dash, let's see if there's any other things that we can do. You can use .env executable. So it just runs a Ruby script, right? We can pass it, which file? Ignore, are there anything else? Override any existing .env variable. Assumes that the deployment environment has more knowledge about the configuration. I don't know what that means. I do not know what that means. No, I don't have an, I was hoping that there'd be something where I could pass it some flag. Maybe I can .env dash help. So files, ignore, overwrite existing env variables. Create a template. It's no good either. I was hoping that they could be like kind of process or like execute or whatever that would just spit out the end file with like the process version of the end file. So that didn't work. Let's scan one more time. Exports. No. Look, we're done. Like, we're done. We got it working. It's not fluid because the envar, I mean, it is a little frustrating, right? Like it's set. Look, it's here. It's there. And I tried password on my other screen. It's also there, which means that it's not, it's oh, hold on. No. I was just thinking maybe .env runs in it's like pulls in its own. It's in my environment. It's in my environment. I'm gonna try one more thing. I'm typing in env, enter on my other screen here. So it prints out all my environment variables to see whether it's got to be right. You don't do echo and have it work, and then do env and then not have it work, right? That would be absurd. Hold on, wait. Having that said, I don't see. Let's get here. Let's get here. I don't see my variable. Yeah, so it's not in env here. So I messed up somewhere. Where did I mess up? Yeah, I messed up. It was me all along, which is fine. Like I always suspect me. And so I'm just trying to quickly figure this out, which will at least now I know, right? Like we went through the thing and I know, and I'll share what I did if this works. Okay. 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 Yep. Yeah, it was me. It was me. And I will, well, if we get it working, if we get this working, sorry, I'm just getting a bunch of item wants to access this folder or that folder. And okay, so we did this. Okay, I've made the change. I'm going to undo this change. I will start a new, well, I could test that change out here actually first by starting a new terminal session and then typing in env. It's gonna work now, I think. Okay. We'll start a new terminal session here. Exit this one and just do login, right? This will, it worked. It worked. Okay. I'll share what I did and then I will log off in shame. Let me modify the file so that I can share it. Okay, so I'll modify it to the broken version so that I can show you how I can fix it. But I don't know why parts of it worked, but that's fine. Okay, so I put a .env file in my home directory. Okay, and what I'm not showing it, I removed the second line, which was the password, right? So I just have my email here. And when you look at this, it looks fine, right? it doesn't look like there's a glaring issue in this end file, okay? And in my zshell rc file, I have a source data, and I manually ran this on stream as well. So when I do this, and then I think I can maybe even open a separate thing, right? I now have a separate terminal. If I do echo username, you see that, right? You see the value, right? So it should be in my environment, right? Like how else would you check if this environment variable is in your environment? It's by doing the echo. You check it. And then on the last this effort, I'm like, let me use the env command, which I won't run right now, but this is the env command. When you press enter, it shows you all your environment variables in this environment session. And it did not have this listed. Okay, so I was like, what? Sorry, not that one. The home env file. It's because of this. I needed to say export, which I would have done if this was in my RC file. Like I always type in export. But because I named this .env, and .env, like .env files are generally just text files. So this just felt right? You just do this. But it is being sourced by my zshell rc file. So it needs an export because, I mean, the RC file doesn't care what this file is named or doesn't care about my intentions. So when I do this, everything worked as intended. But from a debugging perspective, it doesn't explain why this still outputs the value. I would have, like, if early on this did not output anything, then I would have been clued on to that export thing a bit sooner, I think. But because the value is being displayed, it's just so deceptive. But okay, now we know. Now we know, and I don't know why there's a gap though. Like but now we know. And it might be likely that .env is getting all the environment variables through the env command. Potentially, I don't know. I'm just thinking like I'm trying to make that connection. And that's why it didn't work. But okay, fine. Now we know, and we have it working, and that's that. We have Honeypot, folks. It is live at honeypot.randomaccesscoding.com. Maybe I'll message Mary to consider, because she's interested in tracking, to consider maybe doing a session where we add tracking to the code and then we redeploy. But okay. Thank you for joining me on this session of Product Like It's Friday, even though it's Saturday, where we now have deployed Honeypot to the internet. Yeah, potentially we'll come back for a random session where we do tracking, maybe something else, maybe nothing else. Who knows? It'll be random. Let's go home, everyone. Let's